Hey there, and welcome to this week's Coffee with God. I'm Whittaker, and today we're going to be talking about radical inclusion. So, what is radical inclusion? Radical inclusion is when we try to open our hearts to be open to everyone. We've heard of things like welcoming congregations. We've heard of things like open and affirming congregations. Some of our offices, work on diversity. But what does this really mean? How does this relate to us? How it relates to us is that it's not something that magically happens by itself. It's a nice decree, it looks nice on the wall, looks nice over a door of a church. What happens inside the church? That's where the work gets tough, because that's the work that starts in here. You can have a church that's open and affirming and radically inclusive, welcoming, and still have it be very closed. Radical inclusion deals with how we other each other by ourselves. What are the places in our hearts that aren't open to other people? And we may not even realize that we do this sometimes. I don't. Sometimes I might be offish with somebody, and somebody may point that out to me and say, "Hey Lee, how come you were offish with that person? How come you don't go talk to that person?" And sometimes I have to think about that. And sometimes that's where I got to take things to God. Radical inclusion asks us to work it from the inside out. And that's why I'm a radical inclusionist, because I know it's radical inclusion, welcoming, open and affirming. It's not fairy dust. It doesn't make a congregation or a group suddenly open. Each person has a responsibility in that. I do, and so does everybody else. So we do this in a group situation. If each person does even a little bit to push out of our comfort zone, maybe go talk to one person with a blue shirt. Even to say, not just hello away from a distance, but to go over and say, "Hi, how are you today? It's good to see you here. I'm really glad that you're here." And that's what radical inclusion is about. Going out past our comfort zone, one person at a time, to reach out to them and to say hello, to see people, to touch people, to interact with them. And that little verse of be the change that you want to see in the world, you're actually doing that. And that's what God asks of us. It's not always easy. Be the first one to tell you that it's not, because sometimes it's very easy for me to stay in my comfort zone with my buds and just do what I want to do. But I try every time, just one person, to go talk to one person that I may never have talked to before. That's radical inclusion in action. And if we all did this, we could start making some awesome changes in the world. One person at a time, instead of othering each other. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that at some other episodes. I'm going to have some people on the show to talk about this further. But in the meantime, enjoy your coffee. Get out there and talk to one person that you may not have talked to. And if you need to, talk about it with God first. God will give you the mojo to go do it. Enjoy your coffee and have a great week. Good to see you here. I'm really glad that you're here. Except, get away from me, pesky fly.
All right, let's move down.